Uh, that we have our quorum, so we'll call the February 26, 2026 meeting of the Conservation Commission to order. First item on our agenda is a notice of intent for 25 Bourne Street. Who is representing that?
How you doing? This is Brendan Pyburn. I'm here representing Mr. Silvio.
Okay.
I believe Maureen Heald was going to be joining and actually presenting the project from Norse Environmental.
Okay.
It doesn't look, I don't see her on. So I don't know if it makes sense to maybe
Skip and then come back
go
to
out of
you.
order and come back to us.
That's fine. That's why we don't put times on these things. So if you want to reach out to Maureen, we'll just move on to the next item of business, which is the amended order request for Meeting House Way.
Good evening, Madam Chairman and members. This is David Sadowski. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, David.
Okay. Previously, James Tumalo owned a subdivision.
That's him. He's going to do two things. And then it's me.
Anyways, what he
But
wants
I
to
need
do
you
is,
here when we flip.
So, Paul, I'm going to mute you until, okay, thank you.
all right, so what basically is there's a new owner, Alan Rosenberry, and what Alan would like to do, or he would like to increase the footprint size on lot 1 and on lot 5.
Hey, I talked to her like 2 seconds ago and she was.
Someone else needs to be muted. Anyways, lot 1 is on the left-hand side. That one is going to change from a 40 by 27 to a 50 by 34. It does not get any closer to the detention area or the overspill area or to the wetlands themselves. What's
So
actually happened is it's.
So
Go
we're
ahead.
not increasing, we're not changing the limit of work.
That's correct. The limit of work stays the same. It does set back 7 feet further towards the rear property line, and then it expands further away from the wetlands themselves. So there's going to be a gain of 620 square feet of house in that area on lot 1, but it does not get any closer to the actual resource area. The other lot is across the street. It's lot 5. There was a pad over there. That pad's going to go from 35 by 70 to 38 by 70. So it'd be a 3-foot gain. Again, that one cannot slide any closer towards 414 because it's got to have a 20-foot setback in the rear and it's got to have a 35-foot setback in the front. It would be 35 and a half and it would be 20.4 in the back. And I've put it over as far as I can towards 414. It still remains 33.3 feet off of the wetland line itself. So what we'd like to ask the commission if we can make an amendment to show those pads that size, or if the commission feels that we need to do a new filing on the lots.
Just based on your description, if there's no change to the limit of work, I would be open to entertaining an amended order. What I would like to see on the amended order request is on the plan set to show the proposed over the approved as one of the sheets. If you could include that with your amendment request.
I certainly can, and I kind of did that, but it looked too messy. But
Right.
now that you're saying that, I will do it.
If you want to just do one that's pared down without all the all the grades or something that just shows what was approved versus what's proposed. But you're going to want, we will need one with all of the details, obviously, but just to show that there's no change to the limit of work and what the setback is.
All right. So through the chair, what I will do is I can do 11 by 17s of each lot. That'll show the whole complete lot, and I'll show one imposed over the other, and then we'll still have the master plan right now that's stamped.
Okay. So I would be okay with entertaining an amended order based on that discussion. Is there any other questions for Mr. Sadowski?
None from me.
Can you mute that phone line?
How many houses were on this project? I forgot.
Through the chair, there was 2 houses proposed along with the whole driveway, and there was stormwater done for the whole project.
Yeah, there was 2 and then 2 existing homes,
So,
as
yeah,
part of the,
2
as
existing.
part,
Yes.
well, technically 3 existing lots, right? And that's 3 existing, 2 new, which brought it to a total of 5 for the subdivision.
Through the chair, there's an existing house at the end of the cul-de-sac. That's
Right.
one of the lots now. Then there's 2 new
Okay.
proposed coming in. 414 was a separate piece of property that was
Okay.
just recently purchased in November. It wasn't part of the original farm that was there.
Okay,
So there's really 3 so far, but sooner or later, we're gonna get to 4 or 5, so we decided just to do stormwater and show 2 of the foundation pads when we started project.
all right. Any other questions, Don?
So you're going to come back for the new ones if you expand it beyond that? Is that what I heard?
Through the chair, yes. Anything else that needs to be, if it's within 100 feet of a wetland boundary, we'll have to come back before the Conservation Commission.
And those would be new notices of intent.
That's correct. Those would be
Yep.
standalone notices of intents for each of the lots, 2, 3, and, 2 and 4. 3 has already got an existing house on it, so there's possibility of 2 more to come before the commission.
Okay. Is there a motion to accept with a request for amendment?
So moved.
Don, you're muted. Keep him off mute. You don't need to be muted, Don.
Mute, okay. Yeah, I make a motion that we accept the 2 base plot changes for the 2 houses, lots 1 and 5.
Well, this is just to
I'll
accept.
second.
Yeah,
Hmm?
this is just to accept that they can submit an amendment. So the next step is that
Okay,
they will
so we
submit
submit
the
an
formal.
amendment to change that.
Yeah. Yep, they were you have to request
Mhm.
to be allowed to submit an amendment. So that's what we're doing here. So sounds like we've moved that. Roll call vote. Kimberly, aye.
Sean Kerrigan, aye.
Aye.
Great. Okay, so we will see you once you get your amendment request submitted.
Very good. Thank
Hi,
you.
hi, good evening, David. Alan Roseberry, I'm the property owner. I just wanted to interject that we have another application in for 414 Berlin at the same time.
Well, it's
That's the
not the
one
same time. It's the next item, right? So it's an RDA
Okay.
on the next
Right.
item. That's a
Okay.
separate item. So those would be separate votes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let's just wrap up the total and move to the RDA. If we could present that. And then we'll go back to the first item on the agenda.
Okay, so you ready for 414, or do you still need some more
Yep.
paperwork on 412?
I think so. The next is you'll submit your formal amendment request, do your legal ad, and your butter notification, and then we'll have the hearing on the merits of it.
Okay, very good.
Okay, so here I'm just pulling up the 414 RDA. And there's that.
I can share that on the screen as well.
Great. If you could do that, that would be super helpful.
Yes.
Because I usually do it at the same time and try to talk.
Okay.
Okay. Is everyone seeing that?
Mhm. Good evening, Madam Chairman and board members. My name is David Sadowski. I'm the principal at DJ and Associates, and I'm here to present 414 Berlin Street. When this project first started, the farm, which became these 5 lots from Mr. Tumlo, 414 was not part of the project. It was a separate house, but it was always right there by the side of the roadway going in. There had to be consideration for road grade, everything else. The house was only located partially the sides that were going to be important out towards Berlin and also towards Meeting House Way. So what we did was Alan purchased, Mr. Tumlo purchased the house maybe a month before the hearings closed, and Alan purchased the house from him. Found out that the back part of the house is in total disrepair. There's a section that's 20 by 18 that needs to be rebuilt. The plan isn't up in front of me anymore, but it's almost 80 feet from the resource area. There'd be a road in front of it. There would be a construction. There'd already be an erosion control barrier that would be there before it got across. The house, you can see the 100-foot buffer line that's from the resource, the flagged resource area that's on the left side of Meeting House Way. And there's also a wetland further off to the right, but that doesn't interfere with the house itself. So the house itself would sit, no exterior changes to the house. It would simply be to rebuild the inside. Underneath it is right now is not a cellar, kind of sits on the dirt. So there's some technoposts that are proposed to use as the foundation. We wouldn't be digging down in, and I could let Alan, who was online earlier, explain any more about the posts to go in and just really keep the house as it is, possibly replace the roof, make the roof match, and find out if the other part is good or not. But that back part, it has no heat, there's no insulation in the walls, and it's a dirt floor cellar, or just it sits on the ground.
And so what you're saying is there's no earthwork proposed as part of this project.
Correct. Other than the demolition, what's going to knock it down,
Right.
and then put the posts into the ground, much like you would do for a deck.
Okay.
I think Alan submitted 2 sheets. One was, it talked about 4 or 5 steps, and it also was a cut sheet for the typical details for the technicals.
What I see is the 4-page RDA that actually has a good, a good zoom in, because Sierra's got the whole kind of subdivision plan up right now.
Right.
But I don't see what you were talking about.
Oh.
Wait, maybe it's this one here. Existing house location. No, it's not that one. If Alan has anything he wants to add before we ask any questions.
Yeah, sure. The helical post is basically like a giant metal corkscrew that goes down, and the machine that puts it in is about the size of like a garden tractor, lawn tractor. But there'd be no excavation, no digging for footings or foundation. It'd be literally just drilling in 9 posts that would support the replacement of the existing structure at the exact same footprint it currently sits on now.
Okay. And any questions? I would be fine with giving this a negative 3 with one condition that says erosion control shall be maintained in accordance with the DEP file number associated with the rest of the subdivision.
Which house is it? Is it the one right on the road?
Yeah, it's the light green one with the porch, front porch.
I see a 414.
Yeah.
We ready to make a motion to accept the negative?
Yeah, negative 3 with
negative determination.
With negative
414 Berlin Street.
Yep, and we'll give it a negative 3. Buffer zone only work, will not alter. And I just like to fill out. I'd like to fill out that condition line that says
That's around where you're doing all the post dig and all that stuff around that.
Well, there's erosion control of the site between this house already and the wetland resource areas because of the other work on the site. So I don't know that they would need anything additional.
I was just covering my bases if they didn't have it.
Yeah, totally.
Second.
Great. All in favor? Aye, Kim?
Sean Kerrigan, aye.
Don?
Aye.
Great.
Aye.
So the motion passes. Motion to close the hearing and move on.
So moved.
A second.
All in favor? Aye. Kim? Sean?
Sean Kerrigan, aye.
Aye.
Don? Great. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. So we'll go back to the first item that was on our agenda, 25 Bourne Street, because I think we have Maureen now.
Yes. Hi, everyone. This is Maureen Harold from Norse Environmental Services here on behalf of Craig Silvio and design engineer Brendan Byburns here as well. Do you want me to bring up the plan, Sierra, or do you have it?
Yeah, I have the plan if you want me to bring it up.
That'd be great. Thank you. Okay, so just a little bit of history. My client, Mr. Silvio, had filed this notice of intent electronically back in June of 2025. So he filed some of the paperwork, but not all of the paperwork, and then had contracted with Norse to straighten out the paperwork and the filing fees and present this to you folks this evening. So the notice of intent is for 2 building lots. The first one is building lot 2, which is at the bottom corner of the lot. Building lot 2, we're proposing to clear and cut trees to construct a single-family dwelling, retaining walls, grading, and associated utility within the 100-foot buffer zone. Building lot 3, which is the house on the northerly side of the road, we are again proposing to clear and cut trees, construct a single-family dwelling, deck, patio, grading, and associated utilities within the 200-foot riverfront area. Both of these homes will be serviced by city sewer and water. The third house lot that's shown on the plan, that's completely outside the resource area, but it's just shown on the plan as a whole. I can open it up to the commission with any comments or concerns on the project.
Well, Maureen, why don't you go through how the project meets riverfront area performance standards? Sure.
So the house lot that's on the northerly side, as I mentioned, is located within the 200-foot riverfront area. So as a result of that, we have to address the standard riverfront regulations. The house lot itself is completely wooded. So this lot is part of a larger lot in and of itself. So the lot was created in 1930. Can I
just ask a question? When you say the lot was recorded in 1930, do you mean the lot as a whole, or this lot that is going to contain this particular house, lot 3?
The lot as a whole.
Okay, so when was lot 3 created?
I don't know if it's necessarily been created right now. Brendan, has this been officially subdivided at this point?
I can't speak to that. I'm not 100% sure. I don't believe so. But Craig, I know Craig's on the call. He can speak to that a little more. But I don't believe it has been yet.
This is the extent of the development, meaning we're not going to be proposing to doing any more work other than what's in front of the commission this evening.
So are you also proposing deed restrictions as well then?
No, that's not part of this filing, but we're not proposing any more work than what's in front of the commission. So the total riverfront area on building lot 3 is 83,732 square feet. We're proposing to alter 7,499 square feet. That's less than 9%. The regulations does allow you up to 10%, and we're proposing to disturb less than 9%. The regulations state that a minimum 100-foot wide area of undisturbed vegetation is provided. As you can see on your plan, the 100-foot riverfront area is shown as that red line. We are maintaining that 100-foot undisturbed vegetation, and in fact, we're providing more than that. The erosion controls are probably at least 150 feet away, give or take. Regulations require that the stormwater is managed according to the standards. The single-family dwelling is exempt, so it's not required to meet stormwater management standards. The regulation says that proposed work does not impair the capacity of the riverfront area to provide important wildlife habitat. Underneath that, it says for work within an undeveloped riverfront area which exceeds 5,000 square feet, the issuing authority may require a wildlife habitat evaluation. As I mentioned above or before, we're proposing to alter 7,499 square feet. So we are above the 5,000 square foot threshold. So the commission can require the wildlife habitat evaluation if they find that it's required. Lastly, the regulation says the proposed work shall not impair groundwater or surface water quality by incorporating erosion and sediment controls. The proposed work won't impair the groundwater or surface water, and we are proposing erosion controls on the lot as shown on the plan. As part of the riverfront regulations, I'm required to do an alternative analysis. This has been provided in your package. So one of the first alternative is to shift the dwelling south towards Bourne Street. This isn't a viable option because zoning requires a 25-foot front yard setback. So that thick dashed line that's shown on the plan, those are the setbacks that zoning requires. Second alternative is to shift the dwelling to the west property line. So if you're looking at the plan, that would be to the left. This alternative, it's undesirable due to the steep slopes that you can see. That would require additional grading and or retaining walls, thereby increasing the construction costs. But in addition to that, the dwelling that's located directly to the left, they have a second driveway, and you can see it on the plan. It's rather close to the property line in and of itself. So to provide some space between the existing house that's there and the proposed house we'd like to build, we shifted this house, or we placed it in this location to provide a little bit of a buffer, as well as to not disturb the really steep slopes. And then the third alternative is to shift the project or the dwelling to the north. Of course, that's an undesirable alternative because we'd be closer to the riverfront area.
Okay.
What's the dark green line there on the right-hand side that loops around?
So the green line is the 200-foot riverfront area, and that aqua blue line is the 100-foot
Right.
buffer zone.
Is the what? I didn't catch it.
I'm sorry, it's the 100-foot buffer zone?
The 100-foot buffer zone?
There's a
Yes.
wetland, there's a wetland down.
I thought that's what the red line was. I guess I'm missing that. That's
The,
the 100-foot.
The red line is the inner 100 from the Nashua River, and the green is the outer 200. And then
Oh,
the teal
wetlands?
color is a buffer zone off of a BBW.
Okay.
You can kind of see the wetland flags in gray.
Okay.
Did you include the data sheets for that flagged wetland?
I believe so. If not, I can get them to you.
Yeah, I think that would be good. We're gonna want to do a site walk for this. You don't have your DEP file number. We can't close anyway tonight. So we're gonna want to do a site walk for this, but I don't know when we're gonna be able to get up there.
I know it's
and
been
see anything meaningful.
it's been quite the winter, hasn't it?
Yes, ma'am. So just like, keeping that in mind, tonight's gonna be, happy to open the meeting. I'm happy to talk about anything that we can work on between now and when we can get a site visit for the next meeting. So, a question that I have is when I look at alternatives analysis, I like to see several options that meet performance standards and meet applicable standards, but also may scale back or reduce the activity. So were there any alternatives to this particular size of the project, not necessarily the location or the scale, the location or the setback from each yardage that would reduce the overall impact, like the yardage around the house, any of those kinds of options?
I mean, that's certainly an option, as you mentioned, but we also wanted to provide enough space in the backyard so that, if the homeowner wants to put in an above ground pool maybe, or an in-ground pool, or just utilize their property, we would like that option. You can certainly dwindle down any lot and make it as tight as possible, but I don't think that's advantageous for the future homeowner if they want to do something to their land and not have that option. And we're less than the 10%. We're not even maxing out the use of a lot.
By 1%. We're pretty close. So we don't have to split hairs, but it would be good to see some viable alternatives that could be permitted versus options that cannot be permitted.
I mean, other than that, do you have any other concerns with the project? I mean, I think we would be open to maybe doing, in lieu of scaling back the project or scaling back the backyard, I mean, I think we would be open to doing some native bushes along the limit of work or what have you.
Yeah, I mean, especially with something that's so close to 10%, we're going to want to have some sort of permanent memorialization markers as part of the project. That would be something we would condition.
What do you usually use?
It's up to we request that they are proposed, prior to installation. But it's
okay.
Dealer's choice.
Okay.
Something that can't just get chopped down on accident.
Got it. When does the commission normally do the site walks? Do you do them on the weekends, during the week?
It depends on the season. We're getting a little bit more light here, so sometimes we try to get them done late after, early evening, late afternoon.
Yeah.
If we can't make that work, we could try to find a weekend. I just don't know when to. I don't want to put a date on the books because I don't know that we're going to be able to see anything meaningful because we're going to want to look at the wetland flags. mean annual high water is pretty easy to delineate on this portion of the Nashua River, so I'm not necessarily terribly concerned about that. But if we're approving these wetland flags, I would want to see a report, be able to confirm them as well as possible. And then just get a lay of the land, get a lay of the site, how it slopes, how it's graded, any grading that's proposed. So those are the things that we're going to want to see.
Okay, so the next meeting is the 25th. Does it make sense to tentatively set up a site walk, let's say on Saturday, the 21st or something? And if it looks like this, obviously we won't do it, but
I think that's fair. I want to make sure Dave Cowell, who's not on this call tonight, is available. So we could say that tentatively, and then we could work out the date as we get closer.
Okay, and then obviously if we have too much snow, those are the breaks and we can't do it.
Right.
Okay.
But yes, so if you want to work with Sierra on coordinating that, and then figuring out all the parties that should be there are there.
Okay.
We can say something tentatively around that period of time. I don't have any other questions off the top of my head right now. Dawn, do you have any questions, or Sean?
Yeah, nothing right now.
Should we continue?
Please.
Motion to continue.
A second.
Okay, all in favor? Kim, aye. Dawn?
Sean Kerrigan, aye.
Aye.
Great. Motion passes, and we will see you between now and the next meeting, hopefully, and then again on the 25th.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Maureen. Thank you, Brendan.
Thank you.
Okay, what do we have next? The determination of applicability for 5-7 Nashua Street.
West Boylston Street.
Oh, no, West Boylston Street's first. Sorry, I was skipping. I overskipped. Okay, so West Boylston Street. Sierra, can you kind of introduce this one?
Sure. Oh, sorry. 1 second. So our next one, we have 285 West Boylston Street, request for determination of applicability, and we have Paul Broadmerkle representing. And I believe he did want to share his map for this one.
Okay, great.
So Paul, if you want to put on your
I'll be
screen.
sure.
You're good.
Good evening, folks. I'll just see if I can bring up my plan.
Oh, can she allow you to share?
Sierra, can you allow me to share it?
Oh, yes, of course. I think that will allow
It's
you
not, it's still locked.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
There you go.
Can you see that plan?
It's very tiny, but yes, we can see it.
Okay. Well, it's tiny because I brought in all the pieces. I put them all together so that if I could explain to you exactly where we are and how it all comes together relative to the town-owned properties. So if you go to the very top of that screen, you're going to see South Meadow Road at the top of the plan.
Is it sideways for anybody else or?
It's, yeah,
You can zoom it.
All right, let me zoom in. Okay, so the top of the plan now is on South Meadow Road.
okay.
And
Yeah.
off the bottom side of South Meadow Road, off the left-hand side, is an access road. That's the town's haul road to the landfill. And as I scroll down here, right in the middle of the plan, I'm showing you the town's capped landfill. And then as I continue on a westerly direction, we come upon the site that we're working on for the solar farm. That's a 15.2 acre industrially zoned site. And it has absolutely no resource areas on it whatsoever. However, it does have resources on the neighboring properties, which are owned by the town. So I'm in receipt of some comments by DEP regarding the resource areas, and I'd like to discuss those with you if I could.
Sierra, did you get those comments?
Yeah, I shared them with you in the file.
Oh, okay.
Are they the same orientation?
Yes.
If you want to, I mean, I'm reading them, so, but if you want to discuss them.
Okay, so let's tackle the most difficult ones first. You'll notice the blue areas, the areas I blew up next to our site, which is just above it. Those two areas I flagged as isolated wetlands. And DEP's comment is, how did I come to the conclusion that they're isolated? And why aren't they shown as land subject to flooding?
Isolated land subject to flooding.
Exactly, yes. So let's do the one on the right, which is closest to the railroad tracks. You see where it says CSX Transportation? Those are the railroad
No.
tracks.
You have to zoom way in.
Okay. Okay. So just away from the green shading, you're going to see CSX Transportation. That's the railroad tracks?
Yep.
The closest wetland to the railroad tracks is the smallest one. It's only 17,000 square feet. A quarter acre foot is 10,800 cubic feet of water. At its deepest point, this depression is only 6 inches deep with water historically. So it doesn't provide a quarter acre foot. In fact, it's less than 5,000 cubic feet, less than half of what's needed to qualify as an isolated land subject to flooding. So I simply labeled it as isolated vegetated wetland.
Were they evaluated for hydric soils, hydrophilic vegetation, and hydrology?
Yes, they are. They have been flagged. It has been flagged for wetland.
Okay, when was so I think the question is, when was that done and by what methodology? And are there wetland data sheets and a wetland report to accompany that?
I do not have that.
Okay.
This information I have utilized is from the town's consultant when they did the landfill work. So this is not my flagging. This is flagging that was done for the town.
Yeah, and that all that landfill work predates this entire board. So
Yes. Oh, okay. Well, I kept the flags current.
how did you keep the flags current?
I kept refreshing them.
Oh, so you just replaced the flags that were put
Yeah.
by somebody else.
Right.
And what did the flags say on? Do you recall what the flag said on them?
They're
Like
just
sometimes-
they're just wetland flags with serial numbers.
Do you know who did the flagging?
I don't know who did it. I just know that it was done for the consultant that did the landfill for the town.
Okay. Okay, so let's continue to go through the questions.
Right. So the wetland to the left of that, which is further from the tracks, is much larger. It's about an acre in size. It has typically, and I've been watching this land for 4 decades. It is typically 3 to 6 inches of water in it in the spring. That's when it floods the most. And if you use that 6 inches as an average, then yes, this one does qualify with regards to a 1/4 acre foot. It also is isolated. It has no inlet and no outlet. But it doesn't have an average of 6 inches of water throughout. That would only be at the deepest point. So I labeled this as isolated vegetated wetland. Now, having said that, both of these wetland areas are not on the applicant's property, they're on town property. I'm not proposing to do anything with these areas. My project doesn't impact them. They don't impact my project. So I'm just trying to show them to you where they are as best I can.
The concern is though, and this is just why I'm sure this is why DEP asked the questions, and why I'm kind of asking the questions that I'm asking is when we look at a site plan and there are wetland flags on it and that implies that we're making a determination on these resource areas. And if there's no data to back it up, we can't really make that determination.
So in my application, I didn't ask that they be verified. I'm not asking that.
I understand, but when you have a site, like I guess we could do a -2B that says we don't approve it as a part of this. We don't approve the borders as shown. But there's also the whole supposition that there would be no buffer zone cast off of these.
Okay, so let me explain to you the topography. These wetlands are located about 10 to 12 feet below the elevation of our property. There's a very steep slope that was left here because these 2 areas are the remnants of a previous sand pit.
I am aware.
Okay, so that was a long time ago. That happened in the 80s and before. That's a steep slope that comes along the town's property from the edge of that wetland up to the property line. In some places, it's 1.5 or even 1 to 1. That's on the town's property. At the top of that slope, there's an earth berm that's been there for 20 years. That's the high point of the property between the two. On the solar farm side, it slopes back toward the solar field, not toward the town's property. So the town property line is actually the drainage divide. Everything on the town side flows into those wetlands. Everything on the solar farm side flows toward the solar farm. We're not draining onto those wetland areas at all. Those areas are wet from runoff from the Cap landfill. We're not influencing them. We have no impact on them. we don't drain toward them. They're on the town's property, not ours.
But you went on the town's property to refresh the flags?
I did.
Okay. Would you like to go on to the next question?
Sure. The next DEP comment, we'll take this back down to the town property line. So this lot is actually a 28-acre lot, and it's bifurcated by the town line. 15 acres is in Clinton, 13 acres in Sterling. If you look along that Clinton-Sterling line off to the left-hand side, you're going to see some more resource flags. They're mean annual high water flags for the South Meadow stream, and they're also bordering vegetated wetland flags for the areas that are wet and adjoining the stream area. The question was asked, have these resource areas, have these flags been approved by the town of Sterling? And the answer is yes, they have. These were part of our application with the town of Sterling. So these flags are in fact accurate and fixed within those limits by the Sterling Conservation Commission. The riverfront line is 200 feet off of the mean annual high water. And it coincides almost precisely, just a hair shy of the corner of our property line. So the riverfront doesn't actually encroach onto the Clinton piece at all. The wetland buffer does go onto the Clinton piece, but only by about 30 or 40 feet on the outer portion of the 100-foot buffer.
Okay, so the majority of the panel installations will be on Clinton property.
The panels you see there are entirely on Clinton's property. We have more that are in Sterling that have been approved by the Sterling Planning Board and the Conservation Commission. But what I have before you this evening is just in Clinton.
Okay, and there's a mention of a stormwater report. Is there stormwater for these panels?
I did a stormwater report for the panels to show that we balanced pre and post construction.
Okay, was that submitted with this, Sierra?
Yes.
Okay. I see a bunch of sheets, color presentation. Which one of these is the?
There was one comment by DEP regarding the stormwater.
Yep.
To save you the reading through. They mentioned that we proposed 4 inches of loam for the entire site once the panels are installed. And they thought that might not be, they implied that might not be enough to create the meadow that we modeled it at. So what we were actually proposing to do was the same that we had done in Sterling. We did several sand pits in Sterling also that DEP has reviewed. And all they were made up of is sand and gravel as a surface. This is the same thing. This entire 15 acres is all the remnants of a sand pit. It's all sand and gravel surface. We would put 4 inches of loam down, but before we did that, we would underlay it with another 4 inches of silty loam. We can do that because we have a large stockpile of that material left on site from all the previous gravel operations. So we can come up with a total of an 8-inch organic layer in there for the grass to grow in. So it's not just 4 inches, there's another 4 inches of silt loam below it.
You're also planning to put some desoils down as well? Is that what I'm seeing in this stormwater report?
No, there's no desoils we're putting down. The very
The
bottom.
modeling shows modeling shows non-graze with a small areas of desoil.
Yeah, there's a
HSD.
small area right next to the upper left-hand corner of the property, right next to the wetland we were formerly discussing. That
Mhm.
little corner in there is a D soil. None of the rest of it is D.
Okay, that was that's why I was asking.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's
Yeah, that
a
wouldn't
fair
make sense.
question. But 99.9% of this is A and B soils.
Right.
The D is just in the corner.
Okay. What else did they say? Is that it?
That's the only comments they had. There's one other thing I'd like you folks to see. Coming in on the Hall Road, off to the left-hand side, you'll see at the bottom of the slope, there's an existing stormwater basin that works in conjunction with the capped landfill. And just beyond that, there's a bordering vegetated natural wetland. And that wetland has a buffer zone of 100 feet, which takes in a part of the roadway, the Hall Road. We're going to be using that road for our power lines, and they're going to be run through with power poles. So we're going to be installing poles every 100 feet or so on the way in. And they're all going to go in previously disturbed areas right next to the roadway. Our proposal is on the down gradient side of each of those poles, we'll put a temporary compost filter berm in to collect any soils that may tend to run downward on that steeper slope, so they won't get into the wetland area. These poles are going to be installed with an auger. So you have like an 18-inch auger that drills down 6 feet into the gravel. Then you place the pole in the hole and backfill it with the same material. And then you move on to the next pole. So that work is being done in the buffer zone in that one specific area. The rest of it is outside the buffer zone.
Can you zoom in on let's see, on the bottom larger of the two, what you're stating are isolated areas?
Mhm.
What is the grade between those bottom flags and the road, and then basically South Meadow Pond?
Oh, South Meadow Pond, I don't know the grade. That would be, you mean down South Meadow Road? Or are you talking about
No,
the
no.
stream?
I'm talking, no, so on the other side of this road,
Yeah,
because we have another project, it's a restoration maintenance project associated with this capped landfill. So somewhere on the, I don't know where you're.
okay. So let me give you the grades I do know.
To the west on
Okay.
on the screen is eventually South Meadow Pond.
The stream, yes. This water in the larger of the two vegetated wetlands ponds at elevation 350. If you go just beyond that, where the town uses for this stockpiling earth materials and mostly for their composting operation, that's at elevation 352. So it's 2 feet above that vegetated wetland. And then you continue beyond that area and you drop down about 5 to 6 feet into a low-lying area that is pretty flat from there over to the stream.
The stormwater you're proposing is in relation to the road, the proposed 12-foot gravel drive that
No,
runs through buffer zone.
no, the stormwater I'm proposing is for the entire solar farm area,
Okay.
including
Okay.
the roads.
Including the road. Okay. I just wanted to make that clear.
Mhm.
Dawn and Sean, do you have any questions?
No, not at this time.
This is an RDA.
This is an RDA.
Mhm.
So basically, whether or not the work shown, would you ask? Whether or not the area is subject to the Wetlands Protection Act, whether the activities are subject, whether there's a bylaw or ordinance is subject. But you did ask whether the area is subject, which kind of asks us to make a determination on whether or not these are isolated or.
Well, here's our position on it. They don't really influence our project in any way. I frankly don't care whether they're isolated vegetated wetlands or they're land subject to flooding. Either way, it doesn't have any impact on our project. If
Right.
if the commission would prefer that they be land subject to flooding, that's fine with me.
Not where I was going with that. Where I was going is that the flagging on these is basically assumed from an old filing that none of us have ever seen before. And we haven't been on the site. So I'm not saying that it's not true, but there's no information that's been presented to us that these couldn't be bordering. They couldn't be attached to something on the other side of the road.
Well,
Because
a
that
simple
information-
site walk would answer that question.
So I agree with you. And the information that from that flagging wasn't submitted to us. So it's hard
Right.
to make a determination based on that information.
Well, again, if we do a site walk and you go up onto our site and look down at those wetland areas, you'll get it right away.
Okay. I probably would agree with
It couldn't
you.
be simpler.
I probably would agree with you.
You don't need flagging to know that they're not on my property.
That's not what it's whether or not they could potentially be bordering.
Oh,
We don't-
you won't,
we
you
don't-
won't, you.
We don't have that data. That's all we don't have that data. It wasn't submitted. It's from an old filing that you yourself said was done
Mhm.
a long time ago that you don't have the wetland data sheets for or any of the information that went along with it. So that without that information, it's hard for us to say that they couldn't be something else. It's probably true, but we don't know who flagged them. We don't know when they were flagged. You said you've refreshed the flagging, but that doesn't necessarily mean the original what was there was something that we would consider accurate. That's all I'm saying.
Right. So when you have a 1-to-1 slope and the wetlands at the toe of the slope, you know what it is.
But we haven't seen it, and you didn't contract the flagging, and we didn't receive that information.
Right.
And the site plan doesn't have the grading on it. Do some of the other attachments have the contours?
It does have grading on it.
Oh, you're talking about, are you talking about the berm that you said that's at the top, and then these are at the bottom of that berm?
It has topography around the ponds too.
Some, but around those isolated. I really can't see this site plan very well, Paul.
Okay. I understand it's not easy to do this.
So it sounds to me like you agree that it would be beneficial if we went to the site and took a look.
If you're having trouble with the wetlands, and that they might not be isolated, then let's do a site visit. You'll know immediately.
I think that would be wise, just so we can put it to bed.
Okay.
So, and I'm sure you heard the last conversation that we just had as well.
Right. Well, the only way in right now is the Hall Road through the town's gate. So if I knew when we were going to do it, I think I could get Public Works to open the gate for us to get us in there.
Okay. So I'm thinking maybe we should also look around that same time period to give us an opportunity to maybe get some snow melt so we can at least see what's there a little bit better.
Mhm.
So around I don't want to say the 21st itself, but around that time period, if you want to work with Sierra,
Okay.
before the next meeting. And
Sure.
then unless we get, a repeat of 2018 when we had those three series of winter storms, but I'm hoping that won't happen. I'm hoping we've done our penance this year already.
Mhm. Yeah, the only way in right now is through the Hall Road, and we can arrange to do that. I think the town, I think Public Works would get us through the gate.
Okay. So, and then I don't know if you maybe if you're privy to, if you're working with the town, if that filing information is available from the landfill closure, who did that flagging and when, and if there were any reports associated with it, that could also be helpful.
Sure.
Okay. So you agree to allow us to continue this to March?
I don't see that we have any other choice. Of course we do.
Okay.
Are the flags on the drawing? I'm trying to figure out.
Yes, they are.
Is that the round circles? No.
So you'll see a little arrow to each of the wetland flags and a designation. They're E's and G's.
Okay, I see them. I'm blind sometimes.
Okay.
I'm not trying to establish these as wetlands. It's not what I'm trying. I'm just trying to show that they're on town property and that they're not on mine.
Motion to continue.
I second it.
All in favor? Kim, aye. Sean?
Sean, I.
John? Great.
Aye.
Motions continue, hearings continue. Thank you. Well, Sierra will work with you to organize on that date.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have a request for determination of applicability for 5-7 Nashua Street from Tim Roberts.
Good evening.
Hello.
I'm Tim Roberts.
Hi,
I'm
Tim.
the owner of 5-7 Nashua Street. I'm being required by my insurance company to demolish a garage on Nashua Street. It's a 4-bay garage that's concrete block with wooden doors and this poured cement slab for basement on the first floor. Just before I go too much further, I'm joined by Steve Laney, who's the building engineer who made the determination with me that the building was not viable to remodel or to recondition. So we got to the point of determining it needed to be demolished. I started working with Gary Smith, the building inspector, to see if we needed any permits. He determined that we did, and I'm doing that separately. He also mentioned that we needed to potentially check in with the Conservation Committee because it was close to the mill pond. And so that's kind of why I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm not, as I'm listening to the other applicants and presenters tonight, I'm aware that I'm vastly underprepared for any conservation related topics. But so you understand the history as to why I'm here. And mostly I'm just trying to make sure that we are doing what we need to do. relative to the project, and that if there's anything that conservation wise that we need to be considered, that we do that.
You did, so I understand what you're doing. You're just taking down the building and you're not proposing to do anything else once the building's taken down.
Right. We'll take down the building. We'll use the debris from the building to fill the void so that we maintain, because the other concern is that it's adjacent to the road. It is effectively a retaining wall for the road, and in order not to disturb that, we're using the fill from the concrete and debris and block from the building to fill the void that's left by the building.
Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen for the for the posterity of this meeting, since we don't have a site plan, just so we can, orient ourselves on what's proposed here. Let me just turn off this.
I can't find it on the map. Is that, I know where
It's-
National Street is,
It's
but
kind of
are
right
you-
on the corner.
It's
Are
it's
you
at
on a
the
butter, Don? You better not be.
It's as it comes down the hill, whatever that is,
Right.
and then it's
Grove
as you're
Street.
turning, as you're turning around, the road curves and it's kind of
It's-
right on that curve.
It's at
right?
the intersection of Grove and Nashua.
Yeah.
yeah, I live just down the street at 4 or 5 houses. Yeah.
Okay.
As long as
My
you don't
map, my
count,
map won't come up. I guess it's kind of a weird road.
as long as you don't count, you don't count as a butter, Don. So this is what we're proposing to take down.
Where is it at? Okay.
Yes.
Right
Oh,
here,
that little garage. Okay.
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah, you were
So-
describing it, but I couldn't find it on the map. Is that a private road in there? I've heard some weird stories in that area. Anyway,
So
Nashua Street's that private road?
Nope.
Nashua Street?
Not
No,
anymore? Okay.
maybe something up here, off Grove Street up here might be private road, but I don't think that Nashua Street is. 'Cause it comes right out here onto 70. Anyway, so you've got your jurisdiction because you're next to what's colloquially known as Lancaster Mill Pond, but is part of the Nashua River. So there's technically riverfront area associated with your site, which is what falls you here. And this is kind of similar to that other hearing earlier where they're going to rebuild the house in place and they're not going to do anything earthwork wise, etc. So I think hearing what you've described and what I looked at in your file and the location of this on your site, as long as you have some sort of erosion control barrier at the limit of your work area, which it sounds like you do have proposed as part of your project, I would be okay with giving this a -2, which is work is in a resource area but will not alter because you're not proposing anything new.
Is this going to be a new garage or a house?
Nothing. He's taking it down for insurance purposes.
Oh, it's no rebuild.
I don't plan to build.
Someday, maybe. Okay.
Well, someday maybe then you could come in with a notice of
That's
intent.
not here. Okay. I'm trying to follow.
All we're trying to get through tonight is to knock it down.
So I think that was it. We all saw where the area is. Did you have any questions for us other than what we've discussed so far?
I don't think so. I understood -2 work is in a resource area, but okay to move forward.
Unless others have a different opinion, Don, if you have anything else.
No, you can take out the foundation too. You can dig all that up.
Not all the way out. What's going to happen is they're going to saw cut to make a reasonable finishing point. Fill in the foundation with the debris from the cement and concrete debris. They're going to be removing anything that's wood, and there's also I-beams to support the structure and lally columns. They'll remove those as well. The remaining concrete and block debris will be made as small as possible, and then filled in the void, as I said, to maintain the structure, the retaining aspect of the wall, covered over with some soil so that we can get some native kind of clover or something on top of that.
Okay, that was going to be my next question: is how will the area be stabilized?
Yeah, we're gonna use sort of a landscape blanket to kind of retain the seed so that we can,
Okay.
again, wildflowers or something, just to make sure that it's going to kind of stabilize the soil. The other concern that was brought to my attention was that because there'll be a lack of a garage, that it'll be apparently my responsibility to make sure nobody drives over the edge. So my proposal is to either, depending on the amount of debris that's created, either use that to create a berm and then soil over that, or if there's not enough debris to do that, then to use boulders.
Okay. When will the building department require you to provide like a site plan to show that before you move forward?
To be honest, I'm doing my best to get whoever needs to be involved. And I started with the building department. I spoke to the DPW, and now I'm speaking with you.
Mhm.
And I'm totally my first rodeo here, so if I'm not following the rules or if I need some correction, I'm open to that. I was not prepared to, or did not intend to prepare a plan for what was going to be remaining, because the only essence of this was just to knock it down. And in the course of the conversations about this, I mean, I know that there's guardrails along the rest of that road there. I don't think that any resident put those guardrails in. I was half anticipating that the DPW would offer to put guardrails in, but they didn't, and they're putting that on as part of a condition on the plan. So my answer to that is to use have boulders put in. That
Okay.
seems to be the most unobtrusive thing, instead of a Jersey barrier or something. In the time that during the construction and until we need otherwise, there'll be rented construction fence there.
Okay.
I don't know if it's our concern, but there's a retaining wall for the road that will be affected by the demolition. And so if you tear that up, that road could begin collapsing. There's like a 10-foot drop there all along that retaining wall, right?
Right. So the idea was that from the street level to the bottom corner of the foundation, we would saw cut that and knock that all that debris into the foundation to effectively provide reinforcement for the retaining wall there.
Oh, you mean like a little slope?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So if it would be a slope that goes from the top of the road where what are now the garage doors, since those doors won't be there anymore, the slope will go from the street down to the bottom corner of the foundation. So the foundation floor will stay in place. The walls that I don't know what the slope of the wall would be from the road to the bottom of the foundation, but basically would try to create a reasonable looking saw cut in order to fill that. And there may even need to be reinforcement. We may need to put some debris on the outside of that wall in order to reinforce it.
Is it concrete or stone? That wall? Do you remember? Do you know?
It's poured concrete on the bottom and concrete block on top.
That's about 10 foot, maybe 12 foot, 8 foot, 8 to 12 feet, something like it.
What aspect of it are you asking about?
The drop there right off the edge of the road where the driveway would be.
10 feet ish. I haven't measured that.
This is the owner of the apartment complex doing this?
There's a 4-unit building, number 5. I own that, and I own the garage.
Yeah, it sounds good. They're always breaking into that place and whatever they do in there.
Unfortunately, it's been subject to some vagrants.
Yeah.
Anything from, looks like Sean had to step away for a second. So what I would, so if, I would be okay with kind of what we voted as discussed, with, 2 or 3 little conditions that we add on. The erosion control condition that we typically would add on, some sort of stabilization plan, which it sounds like you are already prepared to do. And then just, if you could submit a sketch of the final proposed, the after project, like what the expected conditions would be. You can just submit a sketch and you can submit that to Sierra for the file that
Okay.
is as described.
Okay, so these are 3
And it doesn't-
deliverables
And when I
documents that
say
you want.
when I say a sketch, it doesn't mean, I don't mean like a full set of engineered plans. I mean a sketch that shows this area is to be stabilized with X, Y, and Z. This is where I'm proposing a permanent barrier, and this is where the erosion control will be installed.
Okay. So I could take the a
Plot
map.
plan.
Okay, plot plan, and
Something.
just hand sketch that.
Yep, I think that would be fine for the level of work that we're proposing here.
Okay, and so these 3 things, you just want me to submit those to Sierra electronically?
Yes.
Okay.
The town doesn't want to put a guardrail in? That's weird.
I know. I was wondering if Sean.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by that myself. I mean, as I said, I drove the whole street length last night, and there's guardrails throughout that whole side almost where there's not a house. So, and there's even an opening for somebody to walk through for a set of stairs in order to access the water in that guardrail.
I'm familiar with that one.
Yeah, it's
Who
the
does-
first. I mean, this interaction was the first I've heard of this. So.
Who at the DPW were you working with?
Is it Kevin?
Kevin,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
And
Okay.
he specifically said he didn't want to put a guardrail there.
He made it sound like it was my responsibility. He didn't specifically say that he wouldn't put a guardrail in.
Okay.
He
Yeah,
did. I did
fight
it.
him. I had to fight him of mine to not put one up. I had to build my own, so it looked better than their old metal steel thing.
That's a previous administration, I think.
That was not.
Okay.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
Well,
Okay.
he's committed to putting an asphalt berm to help with the rainwater.
That's another issue there. There's a lot of flooding off of Grove Street. If you could put some sort of drain pipe, possibly, I don't know, kind of added feature to your, because the water pours down right down, comes down that hill, Grove Street, and right over to there.
Well, so if we're putting erosion control plantings in by clove or whatever in, isn't that?
But they're probably existing. The water probably
So
flows
when I'm
somewhere
talking,
off the road.
mean,
But that's not
when
our
I-
concern, is it?
right, that's not our concern right now. When I am talking about erosion control, I'm talking like a silt fence or,
Right.
Okay, just make sure that we're.
Well, you put the berm up, where's the water going to go? That's the question.
That's a
I mean,
Kevin
Flood
problem.
into the neighbor's yard or something.
Sounds like a
That's-
Kevin problem.
Same place it goes now.
Yeah, it's pretty bad there. For that too.
Okay, any
So
more questions?
the silt fence, those erosion control tubes are this
That could
same
work,
idea?
that could work. So just propose that to Sierra, sketch it on your plan.
Okay, I can
Okay.
do that. Thanks very much. And I'll just have any time frame on that? Just as soon as reasonable?
To us before you do your work.
Okay.
So, and you guys can coordinate with the building department on the demo permit, et cetera. So I think we would want to have it before you get your demo permit.
Okay, yeah, the demo permit's already applied for. The application's been reviewed and I just haven't written the check yet. So
Okay. You guys,
the,
you work that out with Sierra.
thank you.
Okay. Motion, do I hear a motion to approve with 3 conditions or did issue a negative with 3 conditions? The discussed
moved.
conditions.
I make a motion to issue a negative determination with preconditions.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Kim, I. Sean,
Aye.
Dawn.
Aye.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
What's next?
All right, next we have an extension request for an order of conditions for 7 Marshall Street. Yeah.
Good evening, commission members. I'm Ryan Proctor with Dillis and Roy. I'm here representing the applicant for this one.
Hello, Ryan Proctor from Dillis and Roy.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Okay.
So I'm happy to share some site plans and go through this one if needed. But this is essentially a project that was approved by, I believe, some of the commission members that are here tonight several years ago.
Yeah.
It was first
Before
presented
my
back
hair
in.
was gray.
What's that? Oh yeah.
Before my hair was gray.
Yeah. So first presented back in 2019. The order of conditions was issued post-COVID in 2021, January 15th, 2021. So the expiration date, when you factor in the Mass Extension Act, was this past January. And shortly after the project was permitted, the previous design engineer for the applicant retired. And post-COVID, basically what happened is the project did not start. So very recently, we were engaged with by the applicant, by the owner, to sort of revive the project with respect to the order of conditions and then bring the project through the planning board process for site plan review as well. But the first thing that we did was we submitted an extension request to the permit. We submitted it a week before the permit was set to expire back in January. I know, unfortunately, we weren't able to have a meeting with you last week due to quorum. But essentially, we're trying to help the applicant out. Again, no work has been done at the site that was permitted, but we're kind of hoping to get them back on the feet and get the permitting process rolling.
Just remind us what the project was.
Gladly. Would it be helpful if I shared my screen? I can pull up
Yes.
the site plan. Great. I
think it
just
was
need a request to do so.
John, Dave, and I would have been on the board when this was done, but not Sean.
Yes. Yeah. I saw your signatures on the order. I just sent a request
do you
to
remember,
share.
Is there any information? I honestly cannot remember why
Okay.
it took so long to issue that. Was there a
It
lot
must,
of?
it must have been COVID. In the order, it
Yeah.
says the meeting was closed on December 18th, 2019. I guess I don't know. And then the issuance was it says January 20th, 2021, but the signature page says the 15th. Both say 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you
Okay.
look
All
in
right. So
When you, Sierra, can you look in the files for that one? Just
that's the order. All right. So the project that was approved, there was a fire burn structure. To be honest, I'm not sure what the former use of that was, but in yellow, that structure had burned down. So the intention was to remove that structure and then construct a 5-unit condominium on the property. There is a brook that runs along the westerly, or I think it's the northerly side of the site, through a culvert and then under some parking lots and under the roads along our site. It was determined by the commission at that time that it is intermittent.
was it Ecotech that did the that was?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, Scott Morrison from Ecotech.
Yep. Okay,
Yep.
now it's coming back to me.
Yep. So the condominium will be connected to municipal water and sewer. Again, this was permitted with your commission only, or the former commission. So our role as we're stepping into working with the applicant now is to bring the project to the planning board this year. We anticipate filing with the planning board in May, and the applicant is hoping to start work in the fall. He's anticipating September. So tonight we are asking for just a 1-year extension. Again, I acknowledge that the permit at this point in time is technically expired. We did submit the request prior to that.
It just needs to be submitted in writing prior to the expiration.
Okay, great.
Those are parking. Where's the condominiums and okay, those are the backs of the condominiums.
Yeah, sorry,
and the parking. No, it's fine. I'm just, again,
Yeah, so condominiums are
yeah,
these blocks, and then the driveway was on the right side here.
Okay.
Each would have one driveway spot, one garage spot. And we're not proposing any changes to the plan that was previously approved.
I understand.
Okay, great.
Any thoughts on whether or not we want to give this an extension?
When was it originally approved?
19, 21.
21?
Between 2019 and 2021.
Yeah, so-
I
Yeah,
mean,
20
so what I recall from this lot is it's, kind of I remember it kind of being an abandoned lot, and I remember this particular stream, I think it was this stream, the banks of it are tires. I don't know if we still have those photos. That would be good to find.
I can pull over
That
the
was
side
part
here.
of-
So this
part
is
of
the
the
lot
file.
here.
Yep.
Yeah, so vacant lot. The stream, I think it must come by, via culvert underneath this parking
Yes.
lot, exposed for our site, and then there's another box culvert here.
Yes.
Before it routes underneath the
This is,
road there.
it's Counterpane Brook, right? I think it's,
I actually don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's I'm pretty sure it's like a very small segment.
Okay, yep.
Where it comes from, yeah. I mean, I guess I can't see a reason to not give it a 1-year extension,
Right, no. I agree.
other than,
I'm just trying to place it in my mind.
you know where the two gas stations are on Brook Street and the
Sidco and the,
yes, and the
okay, I got you. I was trying to see them. I couldn't pick them out. Yeah, I know the one. I know the lot we're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that Counterpane?
Counterpane
I thought like went under the fire station. Like,
So this is the leg of the brick. Our property's right here. I'm honestly not too familiar with town here, but it does split.
maybe
And then it is a smaller leg here that runs under our property.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember we did a site visit there or something.
Yeah, we did with Scott.
Yeah, okay. I couldn't remember the number of units. That's what was throwing me off too.
I'm okay with it.
I'm on board. Yeah.
It would be good to see the
Did we want to look at it again?
If we're gonna put something anywhere, it makes sense to put it. It's just so close to that poor little brook. Well, I'm just one vote of 3.
So what are you saying?
So we would extend this for a year. They would go to planning board, and then there's no changes to the plan. So I think they'd also have to get either a new plan approved from planning board or an extension from planning board. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we have not, the project never went to planning board, so this would be going there first. So certainly if there's any changes that come up during that process, we would of course come back to you guys and
So you would either have changes. So if there's changes,
absolutely,
they would probably require a new notice of intent.
Right.
There's 5 units.
5 units, yes.
Was there stormwater with this?
There's roof headers down to a subsurface system between the road and the building.
Okay. Do you know, was the stormwater report included with this?
I think the box was checked. I do not know if I have that copy, but I believe in the order it did reference that a stormwater report was submitted in the wetland in WPA Form 3. Yeah, so it references that a copy of the stormwater report was submitted in the WPA Form 3.
Mm-hmm. Do we check it off in the order? That is an electronic signature. Okay. Special conditions. No special conditions. Nothing about the stormwater. I mean, there are things I would change with several years between this and now, but I I don't know if they would result in significant revisions. So if you two are comfortable issuing an extension and see what the planning board says, because the planning board's also going to need to do a stormwater review.
We would want to look at the stormwater or just go ahead and issue the extension. Is that the question?
Yes.
I'm okay with it. We looked at it then, so.
Okay. So if there's significant amendments, you'll probably need a new notice of intent from the planning board at this point, it seems like.
Okay, yeah, and any revisions at all, of course, we'd share with you, even if they're minor, yeah. If there's a new plan date for record.
Okay.
Yep.
If there's a new plan, may want to amend it.
Right.
And at that point we could add a few new conditions.
Yep.
But we wouldn't,
Understood.
deny the project at this point. That's not what we would do.
Understood.
So it's never been to the planning board, so even
That's what he's saying. Yeah.
Right. So we're in the same position. Yeah.
Yes. Feel free to move, make a motion.
I'll make a motion to grant the extension request for a year.
Okay.
A second.
All in favor?
Sean, aye.
Don? Okay. Kim, aye. The motion passes.
Great. Thank you so much
Right.
for your time. I appreciate
Let
it.
us know what happens at planning board, please. Thank you.
Absolutely. I will.
Take
All right,
care.
have a good night.
You too.
Okay, next we have a request for a certificate of compliance for 498 Water Street, and we have Carolyn Hallowitz.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
All right, so my name is Carolyn Holozak. I'm with BSC Group, and I'm here to represent the Boston Gas Company for the request for a certificate of compliance for a pressure relief valve that was installed at 498 Water Street in Clinton. Would you like me to share my screen with photos?
Sure.
All right. All right, let me know if you can see it or not. We've got the photos up right now.
Mhm.
Okay, so this original notice of intent was submitted in February of 2023 for work within bordering land subject to flooding. We did include a stormwater report with that notice of intent. The work was completed in 2024 in accordance with the original design and the order of conditions. And in photo number 6 here, you can see the catch basins where the stormwater from all the new impervious surface was now directed towards this catch basin from roof drains and an inlet water quality unit. And the site itself was stabilized upon completion with the straw mulch. We've got perimeter controls. All those BMPs are still in place, and we plan to ask crews to remove them in the spring when we have just a little bit less snow and another start of a year of vegetated regrowth. So we are filing for a request for certificate of compliance at this point.
Okay. So typically we like to see the erosion control either be able to be fully removed or be removed before we issue that certificate of compliance.
Okay.
But so we would, we look at it, then we say remove the erosion controls and issue the certificate, right? So one of the things I recall from this particular one was that we were waiting to do soil testing for seasonal high groundwater until the work began, but I don't know that information was ever sent to confirm.
No, we were not able to complete that. Miscommunications between the site when they started work and time between when we could schedule our engineers to go out and do those soil testing. So at this point, the calculations that our engineers made during the stormwater report, they felt pretty confident with those numbers. So if you wanted us to go and do a perimeter soil pit after the fact, we could get that data, but at this point, it wouldn't likely change any of those calculations that we had.
But at this point, the infiltration BMP was already installed.
Correct.
And so we don't know whether or not we don't know that there was a 2-foot separation before it was installed.
Remind me the 2-foot separation.
So all infiltrating BMPs require at least a 2-foot groundwater separation. Separation from the bottom of the BMP to seasonal high groundwater.
Okay.
So that's the minimum, and then if it's less than 4 feet, we typically the standards require that there's a mounding analysis done. So the agreement was that we would wait until work started to get that information and confirm to what depth that infiltrating BMP would be installed at, because you didn't want to have to clear the site well in advance of beginning work. So it seems like that wasn't confirmed.
It was not confirmed.
Okay. Is there an as-built? Was there an as-built included in this that shows to what depth the infiltrating structure was installed?
That's not something we received from the client, but it's something we can follow up with.
I think we're going to need a little more information about that infiltration structure, just because we did leave it open through the notice of intent process, which is, I don't like to usually do that because this is what
this is what happens. Yes.
Is what happens.
Understood. Yes.
Okay.
So I will request an as-built plan from the client and see if we can confirm that based on their plans. In the spring, we could also go out and hand dig some holes to see if we can find the depth of groundwater at this location to confirm that.
We just want to make sure that this structure functions, right? That's the whole point of,
Correct.
And that's the whole point of the certificate of compliance, is that everything is grown in, everything's stable, and everything functions. And I'm not trying to give you a hard time, Carolyn.
Understood. No. I understand your position in all of this too. And it was, something that slipped by, and we realized that after the fact as well. So we'll do our best to get that data for you, and everything should be in order, but we'll confirm that with the data.
As you probably heard earlier, it's probably fine, but we have to do our due diligence in order to put our signature on things and sign off. Because once the certificate's gone, you guys are free to forget about
leave this project alone. Yes.
Until it
sounds
good. So we'll just continue this until you are able to get that information. There's no hard deadline on our side, obviously, since this is just a certificate. So you let us know when you would like to come back.
All right. If we can continue this to the March meeting, I will try to get that data before then. And remind me again with the BMP. So obviously we can't really get to the BMPs right now with all the snow, but you want us to remove the BMPs before the certificate of compliance is issued?
The erosion. So what we would want you to do is once we're okay with the site, everything seems to be stable. You remove the erosion controls, we issue the certificate of compliance.
Okay. So assuming we have all the data in March, then we'll wait for growth in the spring.
Yeah.
And we'll get just with an email coordination before we remove them.
Yes.
Sounds good. I can do that.
Okay. Very good.
Thank you so much for your time.
See you soon.
We need a motion to continue?
Yes. Motion to continue.
Motion to continue.
Dawn.
Thank you.
Dawn, second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Sean?
Aye.
Dawn? Aye. Kim? Aye. Thank you. Sorry, guys. I never claimed to be the best at Robert's rules. I'm so sorry.
So that looks like it's it for the agenda. Gloria, but I don't see her.
Jim is
Hey,
here.
we got Jim.
I am
We got
Gloria
Jim.
tonight.
Oh,
Mr.
sorry.
Glo-
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Gloria is
I'm
here.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Gloria. Yes, you will learn. I basically am the utility infielder when she's otherwise engaged. So
Of course. Thank you for informing me.
so I'll try to get through this quickly because I know it's late and you all want to do other things. But this is the report from the Rosa Farm Management Subcommittee. Beginning at the beginning, I guess, the key item with town meeting looming is the path to clamshell pond, which has been an issue for a long, long time. I won't go through the whole long history because I think most of you know it in some form or another. But Gloria did ask me in particular to thank Sean for his help intervening and going back and forth with Mike Ward to try to sort out where we are and where we need to go and how we're going to get this thing somehow, away from home plate and around the bases. So the short answer is at our monthly meeting, we did all agree in the subcommittee that we don't think it's wise to go forward with this project for this year's town meeting, because we really need to go back to ground zero to do everything we need to do to make something compliant with state requirements, which seems to be an issue. So that being the case, we're proposing to stay away from this year's town meeting warrant. And then once town meeting is over, to go full bore towards getting everything sorted out we need to do to get this on next year's town meeting warrant. The issue being that we have some money in the town budget, about $140,000 left from the original Rosa Farm purchase, but that's not sufficient to do the proposed project. And we also need to get professional estimates, which seems to be an ongoing problem. So that will all get sorted out somehow over the course of the year ahead. The other thing too is with the coming town meeting, it will be an ask for money in addition to the money we already have. We just don't know how much until we do this. But we also know this year there will be a big ask for money for the new library. Again, the amount of that is unknown, although hopefully in another couple of weeks we'll know that and can start seeing where that leaves us. And we also know with the new middle school, there's been tax increases all around, and that's certainly going to be in the minds of people coming out to vote at town meeting. So that being the case, if we basically work on this for the next year, do everything we can to have it thoroughly wrapped up and to present a reasonable case for it at next year's town meeting, that seems to be a better option than trying to rush something through now between now and June. So I guess I should ask, do you all agree with that?
Oh, I think it's totally fine with that. It's
Yeah.
There's no pressure on our end for a deadline of you have to have this built by. We just,
Yeah, I understand. My biggest concern is just that we have a pile of money that's been sitting there that's worth less with every passing year just because of inflation,
right,
but
exactly.
It is what it is. All right. So that being that's where we stand with that, and we'll get to work on that once town meeting is, behind us. The other couple of issues that we have, and again, none of these I think require a decision, just to inform you, we have had a couple of times in the past I'm trying to keep. Wait a minute. I'll come back to this. WPI, Worcester Polytech, a couple of times in the past, we've done projects with them, which are largely, we can benefit from them, but it's also largely part of the training experience and graduation requirements for their students. So we've had three projects in the past with them, and this is called a IQP program. And what it means is all students have to do a project out there in the real world sometime before they graduate, which includes doing some research, digging out what they need to do, doing whatever work needs to be done, writing a report, and getting it passed, sort of like a mini thesis project, but it's done as a group. So we've been approached by David Spinagle, Professor Spinagle, who's coordinated this program, for the last few years, and he's going to propose that we possibly do something again this year. What that means is they have what amounts to like a fair in March where potential potential programs can be pitched or at least put out in rough form to see if there are any students who look like they might want to sign up for that kind of a program. So what we propose to do is suggest in very, very rough form, because it will be up to the students to come up with the actual detail, to do something to do with our ongoing changing wetlands, especially in our large grassland. We did have Dave Cowell was out there in the spring with Gloria. We have had that looked at. But the issue now is not for anything we want to do with wetlands. We don't want to change anything, but we do want to understand what this might mean going forward for how we might want to manage or look out for wildlife, plant life, insect life, pollinators, and how that might change. And also what might be happening because of climate change and what might be simply because of the beaver activity that's gone on in the few years up behind there off of our property. So we are going to propose that as a package. Gloria will probably go, if not, I will, to answer any questions. If there are several students who are interested and if it passes muster with the school, then they will come to us with a proposal, we the subcommittee, not to you. And we will then review their proposal and manage them through the process, which will include a number of meetings and on-site visits and so on. So that's where we're going to go with that, and assuming there's no objections. What else do we have? Beetles. We have another round of beetles coming at the end of May for our purple loosestrife. This has gone on for several years. It has shown results, but there's an awful lot of loosestrife. But the good news is last year we did have significant beetle activity in the spring before we put out the new beetles. So that is signs that we do have overwintering beetles that are producing new eggs and new colonists in the spring. And the object being, we are never going to eliminate this, but hopefully we can build a permanent colony of beetles to live with our permanent colony of loosestrife so they can strike some kind of, armistice or something before it gets ever worse. So when those arrive, we'll do the same thing we've done in the last few years. We'll put out a new batch of beetles and then keep an eye on what's happened. And before we put them out, we'll inspect what's happened already to see if there's more activity from, last year's hopefully ongoing colony. Other thing is our spring project, which in the past has sometimes been like a cleanup project, a spring cleanup, brush cutting and so on. This year, we really want to focus on our woodland management plan, the new plan we had last year, which is an update of the previous plan. And what we'd like to do is, first of all, we're going to have 3 or 4 of us permanent volunteers go out and scout things out. Then when we get volunteers on the volunteer day, depending on who turns up, their ages, their skill sets and whatever, we'll break people up in parties. If there's kids, they can go out and cut some greenbrier thorns and things like that. If there's a few adults who want to get involved, we do want to begin on actually doing the thinning out of white pines that's called for in that project. We have, as you know, we have a lot of white pines and they do like to take over everything. So in particular, one area of the property over by the DCR side on the west side of the property, which is basically the youngest forest, there are a lot of hardwoods in there, a lot of youngish adolescent hardwoods. There's also a lot of white pines that are growing up and taking over all around them. So the plan will be to identify and mark some of the larger white pines to be girdled, the ones that we don't want to, they're too big to cut down safely. So some of those we will girdle. We will identifying the correct ones to girdle based on what we've learned from the management plan and talking to the foresters, which are basically the ones who risk shading out hardwoods that are trying to grow up. And those will be girdled to basically stand in place, die, become snags. They'll become habitat, but in the meantime, they will also open up and preserve some of that canopy for the surrounding hardwoods. The other thing we will do, probably not on that day, probably something we will do on our own with some of our regular year-round volunteers. But if the right people turn up, we might do some of it then, is a little bit of chainsaw work, taking down some of those smaller white pines. We're talking 3 to 4 inch ones, where there's lots and lots of them, which we will take down, thin out, leave them on the ground. If there's a lot of them, we might cut them into wood piles. but otherwise leave them there to decay and be habitat, but also to keep them from just sprouting up all around and taking over the whole that whole area of forest. Going forward, this will be a plan that will go on for, we hope, quite a few years, because the whole top of that hillside, there's 10 or 11 or 12 acres up there, are very mature forest that's almost entirely white pine. And going forward, after we do this little bit as a learning curve for all of us, we want to look into selectively going in there and years ahead, selectively girdling some of those larger white pines, especially if they were, so where there's probable hardwoods around them that we can open up canopy for. So part of it's a learning experience for us. Part of it's also to try to get some of the public involved in doing some of this work, maybe towards recruiting some of them as replacing the likes of me and a few others who are getting kind of gray, if you haven't noticed, right? So we're doing this as part of our management plan, but also part of the sort of training and recruiting and scouting out possible, talent. And is there anything else? Other things we do have at the library coming up in April, I believe it is. We're going to have a wildlife on Rauscher Farm program that'll be combined with the library and Rauscher Farm, in which we will show some of our wildlife videos from our wildlife cameras and let people see.
Finally.
Oh,
Finally.
I'll tell you more about that in just a second, because I just redone.
We funded these cameras and we haven't seen a damn picture.
Well, they're up there, but let me tell you, I've just rebuilt the entire website. I put it in a whole new location, and it's just 2 days ago it started waking up. So right now I'm scouting out what appears in different browsers, how it looks on my cell phone versus how it looks on my screens, etc. The good news is it's with a minor editing, everything seems to be working. The old site was really quite a mess because it just sort of a hodgepodge over the years added to. This one I've spent more hours than I want to count redesigning the entire site from the ground up. And you'll see on the wildlife section, if you go to rauscherfarm.org, it should be up there now. If not, it'll appear in a day or two.
Checking it out right now.
All right,
if you
what
go
I
there,
want
there's a wildlife page on there.
Tell Gloria what I would like in these subcommittee reports is one picture per report somewhere in the report.
All right. In fact, I have one of my favorites from one of our early wildlife cameras on there of a fox. It's a still.
No, it's
of
got to
a
be a
fox.
new one every time.
A new one.
That's
Okay.
the tax for me reading
All
it.
right. We can do that. If you'd like squirrels, we have thousands of squirrels.
I know. I'm always deleting them off mine. It's like 75 squirrels, just like.
Although we do have black squirrels. We seem to have a family of black squirrels up there. Yeah, isn't that cool?
Subpopulation.
Yeah. So we're going to do that in addition to showing our own videos. And you also see on the website, I also have a link to David Ammerman's site. He's the guy you might see up there a lot with his camera doing bird pictures. And he also has a lot of wildlife pictures. So we're going to do that. And Gloria has also found somebody, I don't know her name yet, but Gloria has talked to her, who's going to turn up sort of like for the second half of that program. She's a wildlife rehabilitator. I think she's probably going to bring a rescued owl with her.
Is she the woman out of Sterling?
I think so.
She
I
took
could
a
ask
bath
Gloria,
at
but
my house a couple weeks ago.
yeah, but part of this is to talk about so people understand if they see an animal that doesn't necessarily need help. I mean, young deer are just in hiding and so on. So part of it is to show what we've got, and part of it is to educate people on, don't try to rescue everything. Make sure it really needs rescuing. And that being the case, I think I've said all I need to say, but I'm certainly willing to, go on and on if you'd like me to.
I don't have any questions. I think those are all the things that we've been talking about, except for my request.
Your request. And go to rauscherfarm.org and take a look, especially at the wildlife page, and you'll see links. All the wildlife videos I put on a Flickr site that links over because they load and run faster than on the regular website. So, and I do keep adding things there. So, all righty. So that's it for us, I believe.
Thank you, Jim. Tell Gloria we said hello.
I will.
Any bear pictures yet?
No, I keep hoping I don't get bears. We do have a bobcat that's been around for about 3 years now, and I had some really good pictures of that bobcat. I've never seen her in person. I'm pretty sure it's a female because she's around a lot, and the females have smaller territories. So just based on the little bit I know from the web, the World Wide Web that knows everything, it's likely a female because she's been around for at least 3 years. So that's my most exciting thing to me. I always looked for new pictures of the bobcat, but we haven't seen any bears, but there have been reports of bears on Wilson Street and in the area in the past. We just haven't caught them on our cameras. They probably pass right through though.
We had one on our street last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. And there've been a couple. Yeah, I've been up on Water Street. They've been around. So we know they're out there.
Mhm.
I haven't met one yet. I did nearly trip over a coyote last year. I'm glad it saw me first, but I took a shortcut through the tall grass, which we shouldn't have done. We tell people not to do that, but I was lazy. And sure enough, popped up ahead of me by 20 feet, took a look at me and ran away. So I'm glad it saw me before I tripped over it. So that's where we are at Wildlife. Take a look at the new site. If you see anything that doesn't look right, send me an email or something, because I am just beginning to. I spent a year looking at it on simulations. Now I'm just beginning to look at it in real different browsers and cell phones versus all that stuff.
No, it looks good.
Okay. And I've also moved it to a whole new location, which is why it might be a little slow coming up. If you know, I still have trouble with mine because I have to clear my browser caches because they're looking where it used to be and it's not there anymore. So. All righty. So
Thanks.
thank you all. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
see you next time.
See you
All right.
later.
Yep.
Any updates on, okay, what do we have? Do we have bills? What do we got?
We have one, just the National Grid one.
Okay.
Where's it?
How much? How many dollars?
Let me see. Yeah, what is it? $30.36.
Okay, motion to approve a National Grid bill for $36 and $35.36?
$30.36.
$30.36.
So moved.
Great. All in favor? Aye. Sean?
John, I.
Any updates on our enforcement situations?
No, I think they're still waiting on their engineer. I don't know. I emailed them. Yeah.
How'd their emergency sewer situation go? Oh, we have to ratify that, by the way.
Yeah, what they ended up being wow. What happened with that? It ended up, yeah, they cleared it and then yeah, it was much quicker than they were anticipating, but
they still had to dig, right?
Yeah, they did have to dig.
So in January, just before our last meeting, we issued them that site on West Street, an emergency certification to dig into their sewer to clear a clog that they couldn't access otherwise. They worked with the water department, but we have to ratify that since Sierra signed it.
We have to ratify the authorization or the completion?
We have to ratify the emergency certification authorization.
Okay. How do we do that? What do we have to do for that?
So do you have that? Do you have a copy of that, Sierra?
Let me see.
Yeah, I remember they put all the scuba divers and all that stuff in there a long time ago.
They did?
That's the same one. They divers went in there.
No,
This is a different project. This
not
is underneath.
divers. They had to put the camera down
I
in
think
and
you're talking about one of the culverts. Not this is just a
Yeah.
little residential sewer backup.
Oh, okay. It's different.
Doo-doo water was going into the basement.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember that one.
Yeah, counterpane. I think we had to send some divers in.
Oh, yeah. Okay, not that one.
Well, this drains too. This is on Counterpane Brook, but it.
Right.
So if you could just pull up the emergency certification draft at least, because we have a copy. I'm
Right.
sure we have a copy of the finalized one, and just read it real quick, and then we'll vote to ratify it.
let me see. Sorry, I just need to make sure I have it on here. Oh, there it is. So the emergency cert is what you wanted me to go over?
Yes.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, so that's essentially what we sent out.
Yep, we said the work had to keep as close to the foundation as possible to explore and repair the sewer line breakout. The homeowner was to contact DPW if repair extends the main sewer line on the property. Owner to contact conservation once the cause is found. Did they do that?
I mean, I haven't heard anything else about because they were gonna have to do more work inside the house.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard anything else
Right.
from that. So
And then we had some special conditions about stabilizing, which, I mean, there's not much we can do right now, but every time I've driven by, I have not seen a single erosion control on the site, including up close to the house. But we did issue this, so we have to ratify it, but we can just continue our concern through the enforcement order process.
yeah, I was told that they had the erosion control
did-
around it when they did the work.
Yeah, but did you see it?
They did it on the weekend, so I didn't see it.
Okay. Because I know we talked about this a little bit. You, Sean, and I, we talked about this a little bit while we were waiting for our quorum, but we didn't, we just as a fact finding conversation, not as like a
Of course.
decision making because we had no quorum. So we talked about this a little bit before they did the work.
Yeah, because it was on a Friday, so they did the work over the weekend, and I wasn't there.
We should go back out at some point. Obviously, right now we're not going to see much with all the snow, so I'm not saying like run out there tomorrow or anything, but we certainly need to follow up with the site in general.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a motion to ratify the emergency certification as issued? Just ratifying it.
You muted.
I'm muted?
No, Don's muted. Were you trying to make a motion, Don?
You can do it.
Yeah, I'll move.
Right.
So moved.
A second.
Okay, all in favor to ratify the emergency certification. Kim, aye. Sean?
Sean, aye.
Aye.
Don, aye. Okay.
Yeah, so what do I do with them since they're not really complying? Like, what do we do with them?
The other things is, are there other things in town that they want? Other boards, other permits? Frequently municipalities, if there's an enforcement order issued, other things get held up if they're not complying.
Yeah, I mean, I think because they do have the building permits, I believe, out with Gary.
I mean, I can't tell Gary what to do because I'm not Gary's boss, but
I know Gary knows what's going on, and I think he'd be willing to like help us with it.
Okay.
So
let's plan to have a conversation with him next week because I'm sure you're over your hours this week.
Yeah.
I don't know if you had to work on Monday or not, but so that should definitely be something to follow up with next week, and then reach out to the circuit rider. Know that you have, but sometimes you got to ask again. See if there's any help that can be made there in terms of just like phone call, or I think there was conversation about maybe it would be beneficial or not to have translation services that the state can provide.
Yeah, that's right. I did send out an email about that. I don't know if they ever contacted them or not.
I think if and when that happens, you would be also on that phone call.
Okay.
So you can explain what we've requested, what the steps forward are.
Okay, maybe I'll send out another email just to follow up and see if we could maybe
if you think that would be beneficial.
Contacting and just I don't know. Doing something.
Do you know what the preferred language is?
Portuguese, I think.
Okay. I think Emily actually speaks a little Portuguese. I don't know if it's enough to be like.
I'm not positive. I'll have to double check, but I believe
Okay.
it is.
Do we have any of those services at the town, Sean?
I know the school has something, but we're looking to just talk. So just so I'm getting caught up here, like the developer, the property owner doesn't speak English? Or
Yeah, he speaks English, but not very well. So it's
Okay.
like hard to communicate. Like when I went there, I was talking to someone on the phone and he was translating for me. Like it was,
yeah.
yeah.
No, does the building inspector doesn't have any, but I think, no, that hasn't bubbled up to us yet, but I mean, it's something, when we send out things, we have translations at the bottom, but face to face, I don't know, what we have.
Yeah,
But it's
because Lourdes speaks Spanish, but
right. Oh,
not
that's a
Portuguese.
Portuguese name.
My whole neighborhood speaks Portuguese. I don't know any of them.
Let me see what I can find out.
Because I know that the state can do like tele services, and sometimes there's staff on hand that are designated interpreters, and
Yeah.
it can be good to have that when you're trying to talk like a technical issue versus
Right.
just like how much money do I owe for the permit? I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm just trying to say, like, I don't know how technical building permits are, whereas like
Yeah.
we're talking like a complex regulation situation.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know if it's Portuguese. I can't remember, but it's something
let's
that
see.
Lourdes
Figure
couldn't
that.
translate. So
Right. We want to be helpful. Like we want to be helpful in case there's something that's not clear, and that's why this was issued in November, and now we still haven't seen any of these people.
yeah. And it seemed like they understood too what they were supposed to do, but I don't know if I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to speak for
Fine.
them, but
We don't want to speculate. Okay, so I think we have a few steps that we can take to try and get this back on track. Anything else I'm not thinking of?
Is this a notice of intent or what's it?
This is the two houses, one like some rebuilds with it looked to me like site work right along Counterpane Brook in Riverfront
Yeah.
area that were done without any conservation permitting.
Okay.
So here we are. Okay. Anything I'm not thinking of that's going on that we needed to?
I don't think so.
Good. Okay. Tough week. Single mom. Steve's been gone since Sunday, basically.
Yeah, Jill just got back from Albany, but it wasn't hazard work, so we knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And my kids are 12, 14, 15, so
They
it's a little bit easier. I'm not as easy as you'd think.
They can feed themselves and use the bathroom
Sometimes,
themselves.
yeah, you'd be surprised.
Do they climb in your bed at night still?
That's the dog. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging in here, everyone.
Motion to adjourn.
A second.
All in favor?
Sean,
Aye. Good night.
Thanks, here.
Thank you.
Thank you.